Hi everyone, it's me again. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to review the movie from My Hero Academia. I think it's called World of Heroes. I can't remember the title correctly. I went to watch it during my vacation, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed. I mean, don't get me wrong, the movie was cool, it was great, but honestly, I was just disappointing. I mean, I was expecting to see like more new content, but honestly it just felt kind of flat, especially like the villain and so on. But first things first, let me kind of summarize the movie. So spoiler alerts, those who don't want spoilers, I honestly recommend you to watch the movie and then watch the video. So the movie begins with a cult or a, well, technically these are like almost like a terrorist group called Human Rise, who believe strongly in the quark doomsday theory, which clearly means that it's literally like the quark singularity theory. In other words, this theory states that as quarks continue evolving throughout each generation, there's gonna be at a point where they'll be impossible to control, and it will bring the end of the world. So this cult organization has planted numerous bombs throughout the world with a drug called Trigger, which kills quark users by literally driving their quarks out of control. They believe that if they eliminate the quark population, that will save those who aren't born with quirks and literally save humanity. So literally, this organization is kind of similar to the Paranormal Liberation Front, previously known as the Meta Liberation Army, which they believe that quarks is something that people who are born with, and they have the right to use it as freely as possible. And the strength of your quark is gonna define how high you could reach in society. So it's almost the same thing, but it's just honestly like the reverse. After this incident, the World Heroes Association dispatched Pro Heroes and UA High Hero Course students to Human Rise targets to stop the remaining bombs, but unfortunately, they weren't unable to find the bombs, and not even very powerful members of this cult, so they are ordered to just be on standby. I mean, we see Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are sent to Otheon, and we see them with these really cool suits, like they were teased in the trailer. I'm like, man, I'm really hoping we see more of these suits. But this is the part where I start getting disappointed. We don't even see those suits for too long, only like a couple of minutes, and then it's like they never existed. That's the thing that kind of disappointed me. I'm like, seriously, you kind of tease the suits. Oh, they're gonna be these awesome suits. They're probably gonna wear them throughout the big five, but we don't even see them for that long. So honestly, it kind of felt dumb. And as I said before, they're put on standby, and during like an outing, the trio encounter like a jewel robbery, and unfortunately they're split together. Bakugo and Todoroki go after the villains, while Deku goes for the courier named Rody, who took this job just to provide for his family. So we know that this kid is not really a bad person. He's just there to like, okay, here just to deliver the goods. He's not really a bad guy. I mean, he's just trying to provide for his younger siblings. So it's understandable right here. I mean, it doesn't make it right, but you understand why. Meanwhile, a Human Rights scientist, I can't remember his name. I said Alan or something. I can't quite remember. Flees like the base with some important briefcase. But as we see later on, he's literally ambushed by a Human Rights agent, leading the car to crash near Deku's and Rody's chase. We then see Rody grabbing the wrong briefcase, but before he can escape, Deku manages to catch up to him. And if things couldn't get even worse, we see the police literally surround both Deku and Rody and start attacking them. I mean, Deku is like, okay, why are they shooting at us? I mean, this guy is not like a very dangerous criminal, so he uses his black whip to escape with Rhodey. And after this incident, we see that the news start accusing Deku of being a mass murderer. And he's like, you know what, I need to get off the grid so I could clear my name. Deku and Rhodey decide that they needed to go to the neighboring country called Clade, as I believe that neighboring country doesn't have jurisdiction. So he sends a secret coded message to Todoroki, and he and Bakugo make their way. And as we see, Rhodey starts getting a little bit homesick. He's just worried about his siblings and what this briefcase is causing. He's like, he decides to, find a telephone booth to call the police and just give up the briefcase. We see that the officers who arrive to take the briefcase are none other than human rights agents, and they immediately start attacking Rhodey. I mean, luckily Deku arrives in the nick of time and literally saves Rhodey's life by literally shielding him with his own body from an arrow. From one of these agents, she has like this arrow quirk, which in a way kind of reminded me of Lady Nagin's rifle quirk. I thought it was very cool. I forgot what was this agent's name. Was it named Barrows? I don't remember, but her quirk was pretty cool. But getting back on track, we see Deku took the arrow for Rhodey, and they managed to escape. And after they escape, they hide in this cave. Rhodey starts tending for the wound, and he apologizes to Deku for betraying him. And as they're talking, we learn a little bit more about Rhodey's past. I mean, he was born with like a pretty wealthy family, but one day his father decided to join Human Rights and left Rhodey and his siblings. And because people heard that his dad joined Human Rights, society kind of like pushed him away, like saw them as something like honestly like gross, which is very, very sad because Rhodey and his siblings had nothing to do with his father's actions. And you will see how this is so sad because we're gonna see the same thing in season 6 of My Hero Academia. Manga readers, you know who this character is. Also, we also learned, I think, Rhodey's quirk, which is kind of weird. Deku asks him, okay, what kind of, do you have a quirk? He's like, okay, don't laugh if I tell you. You know the little bird that he has? I think the little bird name is Pino. That's basically his quirk. So in a way, his quirk is soul. So this little bird is able to portray Rhodey's true feelings. So upon getting to Clade, we see that the Arrow Girl, God, I can't remember her name correctly. What was it again? Barrows? Man, I'm not good with names. Immediately starts attacking the duo, but before any more damage can be inflicted on the two, Bakugo and Todoroki spot the attack and immediately help both of them. And this is where things get a little bit sad, and it's true about cults. Literally, in order to avoid capture, this Arrow Girl literally jumps off the cliff and commits suicide. I mean, it shocked me seeing it, and it literally reminded me of like, those cults that literally made national news where they're just so, like, literally so deep into the cult where they're so brainwashed that they'll literally do anything to protect this so-called like a perfect organization. Who knows? I mean, you heard the mass suicide of, I don't remember the town, Jonestown? Honestly, kind of reminded me of this. So it's very, very sad that cult organizations like this are able to brainwash people like this to the point that they're literally willing to give up their lives for something so dumb. After this event, Deku discovers a hidden compartment in the briefcase containing a puzzle which Rhodey played as a kid, and he manages to open it, which reveals to contain a US device a USB device, goodness, and a data disk inside. Inside this disk, it contains a message from the guy that was injured during the car crash and reveals that he and Rhodey's father, Eddie Soul, were kidnapped and forced by human rights to create these bombs. And the device inside that they were able to find in this puzzle thing contains a kill code for the bombs created by the two. We then see human rights announcing on live television that they're gonna detone all the bombs in 2 hours, forcing literally all the heroes dispatched throughout the world to work through the panic. And this is the part I became a little disappointed, honestly. Well, not a little disappointed, a whole lot disappointed. I mean, I was hoping to see the number one hero from Egypt. I think his name is Sabam. I don't remember correctly. But we get introduced to him in the manga later on after the war arc. I mean, we just see like 5 seconds of him and just saying some quote I don't even remember. It was quite disappointing. I think the number one hero from Singapore is there, but he just makes a brief appearance. You don't even know who he is, which made it disappointing. I was hoping we'll get to see their quirks in action. Like, oh, look at the heroes from these other countries, why they're the number one heroes from their own countries. It would have been great to see their quirks on action. Let them be a little bit on the spotlight. I mean, it's not everything about UA. I mean, show the rest of the hero world. One thing I was hoping to see, which would have been awesome, was seeing the number one hero for the US. It would have been amazing. Even if she made a brief cameo, honestly, I would have loved it. But they didn't even show that, which honestly was just so disappointing. I mean, there was hardly any new content here. I mean, one thing that really annoyed me was all the heroes dispatched throughout the whole globe, but they were all over the place. It's like, okay, we just gotta show this to fill up the time gap. Literally, that's how it felt. I mean, it didn't feel like, oh, this is very dangerous. Honestly, it didn't feel like that. Honestly, it just felt kind of flat to me. Like, okay, we gotta show this a particular bit of the heroes. Okay, we're done with this. Let's show this one over here. Honestly, I mean, they could have tried to focus on some of the lesser known heroes, show their quirks. It would have been awesome. So we see Deku and the others head to Human Rights main base with the device, but of course they're faced with opposition. Baku and Todoroki go face some high-ranking members, while Deku goes inside and faces Fleck, the main boss, whose quirk reflects whatever comes in contact with him. Bakugo and Todoroki's fight, honestly, it was pretty good. I liked it. I mean, it was nice to see a little bit of gore, especially how they managed to get Bakugo's eye. We see like the blood in his eye. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, the animation and the cartography, it was amazing, but it did feel a little bit dizzy at times. I'm like, oh man, I'm getting kind of dizzy. I think some people were complaining about how the choreography of the fight was going, and yeah, I could kind of understand. I mean, it looked pretty awesome, but yeah, they felt a little bit dizzy at times. We then see Rory arriving at the scene, and seemingly he like betrays Deku. He tells Blake that he'll give him a device in exchange for the safety of his siblings. However, Deku knows this is a farce. As you know, I stated before, he already learned about Rhodey's quirk, the little bird Pino. He's like telling him like, dude, prepare. This is a farce. We're trying to fool him, so we give you time. And of course, Fleck doesn't know this, and Rhodey is able to catch him off guard. I mean, Fleck's quirk is actually pretty cool. I love the animation behind it. However, I just didn't like the lack of information of his life, like what caused him to become a villain. I just felt it just wasn't enough, or like good enough reasons for him to do this. I mean, he was born with a very powerful quirk. He said if he wasn't born with this quirk, he would have gotten the love of like everyone, his family, friends, but because of his quirk, he reflect them away. But honestly, it just didn't feel like a good excuse for him to be a villain and why he's doing this. It just wouldn't make sense. I mean, Wouldn't he try to look for like a cure to erase Quark so he'll be free? Honestly, the villain, in my opinion, kind of fell flat. I mean, he wasn't even memorable. I mean, the last villain from the last movie, 9, that villain was memorable. But this one it just felt flat, short. Like, yeah, not something memorable. I mean, all I remember was this kind of cool quirk, but other than that, in my opinion, the villain didn't feel like, oh wow, this villain is pretty awesome. It just didn't feel like that. And as Deku continues fighting Flag, he comes to the realization that there's a limit to how much damage Flag can take. So he literally pushes himself to 100% and defeats Flag with like numerous punches, with literally reminding me of the fight against God, I always have a hard time remembering his name. Overhaul. By his villain name Overhaul. It kind of reminded me of that. It kind of looked very cool. It just reminded me of that fight, which honestly, it was very awesome. Meanwhile, we see Rhodey completely injured, bleeding. He makes his way to the control system, and he and Pino barely manage to arrive and disarm the bombs. In the aftermath, we see numerous surviving human rights members are arrested, especially that police guy that was a human rights member. And while the heroes who were injured, they go to the hospital. Before Deku can head back to Japan, we see Rhodey goes meet him to the airport. They have a tearful goodbye and bid their farewells. At the end of the movie, we see Class 1A reunite together after seeing the events that took place. We see Rhodey heading to the bar and ask the bartender for a good job, not dangerous, dangerous criminal jobs, a good job. Then we see Rhodey finally pursuing his dream to become a pilot. I mean, the movie wasn't bad, but honestly, I was expecting to see more. I mean, the fight scenes were amazing. They were pretty cool to see. But honestly, seeing all the heroes scattered around the world, the movie just kind of felt like all over the place. Like it wasn't fully focused. How would I explain it? Because some movies are able to do this where like, okay, there's numerous people in numerous places doing an important task. I mean, they're literally able to give you enough information to see how vital they are to the plan. But in the movie, it just didn't feel like that. I mean, honestly, I was hoping to see more new content, especially of other heroes, like I said before, the number one hero from Egypt, the number one hero for Singapore. I was hoping to see the number one hero for the US, but they didn't even show that. Honestly, the movie felt all over the place. It wasn't a bad movie. I mean, the animation was gorgeous. It was very, very fun. I did like the movie, but honestly, I just felt a little disappointed. I was hoping to see more new content. I mean, hardly, you wouldn't really consider this much new content. I mean, I know when a movie is pretty good that I want to watch it again, but no, I mean, I literally went to watch Demon Slayer like 2 times because the movie was just so great. But for My Hero Academia, this one, nah. I mean, I wanted to see the last movie a second time, but unfortunately I couldn't because the pandemic hit. And I just couldn't see the movie one more time. I mean, I really loved that last movie. I mean, I'm gonna have to rent it again because, goodness, that movie was so good. But this one, it just felt kind of flat. I mean, if I were to grade it, honestly, it would be like a 7. I was hoping to see new content, more new stuff, but honestly, it just felt kind of flat. The villain felt kind of flat. I mean, he wasn't really memorable. I mean, I was hoping to see an end credit scene, but there wasn't even that. It was kind of disappointing. I mean, one thing that bothered me about the movie was the lack of information we got about Rhodey's siblings. It would have been nice to see a little bit more information about his siblings. Honestly, it would have been great. Maybe, hopefully, the creator of My Hero Academia, Hirokoshi. I apologize if I'm saying your name wrong. I'm not very good at remembering names. Faces I am, not names. Hopefully he gives like a little special manga chapter, giving more information about Rody, his family, his siblings. Honestly, it would have been great. I mean, they did tease the movie in the manga, I believe after chapter 324. I can't remember, but I know it's like way under 300 chapters. I was hoping to see, because I was hoping to see that special manga chapter after 324. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would have loved to see that animated, because that fight with Endeavor against Todoroki, Bakugo, and Deku, giving them I think like 1 minute to land a punch on him. I would have loved to see that. I mean, it would have been cool if they were able to fit it in the movie. Honestly, it just would have been awesome. I mean, we even get to see a little bit of Bakugo, Todoroki, Deku, like deciding, okay, how they're gonna design their stealth suits. It would have been awesome, honestly. I would have loved to see that scene there, and honestly, it would have made the movie a little better. But they didn't even added that special manga chapter, which even makes it even more disappointing. But honestly, I do recommend you to see the movie. It's actually pretty cool. I mean, it's interesting. There's a lot of action. The animation is it's pretty awesome. It's gorgeous. It's not bad. I mean, I especially love the fight with Bakugo. And anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you for the next video. Bye.